Good morning, I'm Maiki Oreta and you're watching Basis Points, where we dive deep into the numbers and the stories that drive our economy and shape our world. The headlines. Will the SSS contribution hike be halted? Pressure mounts as calls grow louder to stop the increase. A major controversy hits the mining sector. Is global Ferro-Nickel's Joseph C. a fraud? New questions emerge about his Filipino citizenship. History in the making. New York City implements a first-of-its-kind toll scheme in the United States, targeting motorists entering its busiest district. Let's take a quick look at the financial markets. U.S. stocks rebounded on Friday, just days after investors kicked off the new year. Expectations of additional Federal Reserve rate cuts and business-friendly policies from the incoming Trump administration boosted confidence. The S&P 500 gained 1.3%, the Nasdaq gained 1.8%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 0.8%.
I mean, it's been a rough, month, really. So it's natural that we get a bit of bounce. I'm hoping that, we're kind of working through a bottoming process here. I think in general, we're just sort of working things off. I don't expect anything to get too terrible in terms of this current pullback that we're having. December kind of was a give back month. That's continuing so far into early January. We're getting a nice bounce here. Whether, we really need to get back above 6,000 on the S&P, for example, above the 50-day moving average, and kind of show that we can hold there. And then I think the uptrend will resume.
Over in Europe, markets ended on a downbeat note. The FTSE 100 lost 0.4%. Germany's DAX index lost 0.6%, and France's CAC 40 dropped sharply, lower by 1.51%. And that's a quick look at the markets. More business news coming up. Now, the revenue of the country's top 1,000 firms grew by 7.2% in 2003, totaling 17.8 trillion pesos. That's according to the latest Business World report on the top 1,000 corporations in the Philippines. The combined revenue surpasses the 16.68 trillion pesos recorded in 2022. However, the growth rate is a sharp slowdown from the 21.2% increase in 2022, as elevated inflation continued to challenge businesses. Petron Corporation remains the country's top grossing company, though posting a modest increase of 0.4% in gross revenue to 440.6 billion pesos. This data shows the business community's resilience amid high inflation, but it also underscores the need for strategies that address the pressure of rising costs. How companies adapt to these challenges will define the path for Philippine businesses in 2024. In other news, headline inflation is expected to pick up to 2.7% in December. This is based on a Business World poll of 13 analysts for the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, for the final month of 2024. The forecast is slightly higher than the 2.5% recorded in November, but still well below the 3.9% registered in December of 2023. The main drivers: higher prices of food and utilities. Despite that uptick, the estimate remains within the central bank's target range of 2.3 to 3.1% for the month. Now, the government boosted subsidies to state-run companies by 81.6% in November, raising the total to 12.23 billion pesos. A large chunk of these subsidies went to major non-financial government corporations. The National Irrigation Administration received the largest share, nearly 7 billion pesos. This is almost triple the 2.52 billion pesos it was allocated in November of 2023. The National Food Authority was the second biggest recipient, securing a subsidy of 3 billion pesos. This increase in subsidies reflects the government's priority to support critical sectors like irrigation and food security. Former Social Security System Chief Rolando Macasaet calls on Malacanang to stop the planned contribution hike this year. Makasa, it says that the government has the power to suspend Republic Act 11199, which requires the increase in contributions. He argues that the Social Security system has earned well over the last 2 years enough to cover members' benefits without raising the contribution rates. Since 2019, contribution rates have been steadily climbing from 12% to a projected 15% this year, raising concerns among workers and employers. For the business community, this would mean higher costs for both employers and employees, with small and medium-sized businesses feeling the impact the most. The challenge now is finding a balance between a stronger Social Security fund and minimizing the burden on businesses and workers. A former lawmaker is also urging the SSS to suspend the contribution hike. In an interview on Weekend Agenda, Bayan Muna Chairman Nery Colmenares says the agency must settle its previous collection before carrying out this initiative.
Alam mo yung SSS, parang PhilHealth yan eh. Mas concerned sila sa report nila sa pondo, na ang pondo namin lumalaki, lumalago, gano? Hindi nila focus yung benepisyo ng mga miyembro. Kawawa ang worker kasi pag hindi nire-remit ng employer yung premium niya, pag may nangyari sa kanya, delinquente siya, wala siyang premium doon. So, sagutin niya ngayon kung aksidente siya o kailangan niya ng kung ano man, may problema talaga tayong malaki pag hindi increase ng SSS yung collection rate. Bakit sila mag-iimbento ng bagong koleksyon, hindi pa nga nila nasingil yung lumang koleksyon?
The Alliance of Concerned Teachers, Private Schools voices strong opposition to the planned Social Security system contribution increase this year, calling it an unnecessary burden. ACT Private Schools label the premium hike as an attack on teachers and workers who are already struggling with high living costs and low wages. The group argues that the promised 2016 pension hike has not materialized. Yet workers are now facing higher contributions and less take-home pay. Among their demands, the Alliance calls for the suspension of the SSS contribution increase, the removal of confidential funds, and additional budget for social services. They also call for the abolition of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, or NTF-ELCAC. These teachers say the increase will push them further into financial difficulty, and they're also demanding immediate action from the government. We're taking a quick break. Please stay with us as we dive deep into the numbers and the narratives that matter most to your bottom line. Trading at the Philippine Stock Exchange began just a few minutes ago. Let's take a look at the initial figures. Right now, the PSE index is in the green, up by 0.6% to 66.44. This against last Friday's close of 66.04. Now, analysts say the PSE index is expected to move sideways this week, possibly with an upward bias after the release of what's expected to be favorable inflation data for the month that's supposed to be tomorrow. Now, inflation within the BSP's forecast of between 2.3 to 3.1% could boost market sentiment. But overall, the challenge is really thin trading. Volumes remain low as investors are hesitant to make any significant moves due to macroeconomic uncertainties that's limiting trading enthusiasm. Now, at the foreign exchange market, the peso opened steady at 58.20 against the dollar. That's from Friday's close of 58.20. Now, analysts predict that the peso could slide to its record low of 59 pesos against the greenback this year. Now, that's according to John Paulo Rivera, a senior research fellow at the Philippine Institute for Development Studies. Now, this may be driven by speculation surrounding U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's policies and the upcoming Philippine midterm elections, which could put additional pressure on the local currency. Other factors expected to influence the peso include fluctuations in global oil prices and remittances from overseas Filipino workers. On January 3, the peso already weakened to 58.20 to the dollar, down from its 57.91 finish last Tuesday. Now, this outlook underscores the importance of monitoring both local and global developments as they continue to affect the peso's stability. On another front, the Philippine Gross International Reserves, or GIR, hit an estimated $109 billion by the end of 2024. That's according to the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, or BSP. This growth was driven by strong foreign exchange inflows from cash remittances and foreign direct investments. The figure exceeded the central bank's target of $106 billion for the year. Looking ahead, the BSP expects reserves to increase further to $110 billion in 2025. However, the International Monetary Fund is even more optimistic, projecting the GIR to reach $115.9 billion this year. These reserves reflect the country's strong external position, providing a buffer against economic uncertainties in 2025. Now, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, or BSP, lifts its moratorium on new digital money providers. The central bank has removed its ban on applications for new electronic money issuers among non-bank financial institutions. BSP Deputy Governor Mamerto Tangonan says that the move aims to promote digital payments, improve financial inclusion, and drive innovation in the financial sector. The moratorium was first imposed in November of 2021 to manage resources and to ensure the financial system's stability. It was initially set to expire in December 2023, but that was extended to December 15th of 2024. With the ban now lifted, the BSP is poised to encourage growth and competition in the digital payment space, signaling a new era for financial technology in the country. Now, heads up for motorists. Better gas up now as fuel prices are expected to increase this week. According to projections by Unioil, diesel prices will rise by 1 peso and 20 centavos to 1 peso and 40 centavos per liter. Gasoline prices are also expected to increase by as much as 1 peso per liter. Now, industry sources attribute the price hike to global factors, including OPEC Plus's decision to extend production cuts of 2.2 million barrels per day until April. So make sure to fill up your tanks soon to avoid paying more at the pump. Now, in other news, the Justice Department orders illegal POGO workers to surrender immediately or face consequences. Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla issues a strong warning to illegal POGO workers who continue to stay in the country despite the ultimatum from President Bongbong Marcos. According to the Bureau of Immigration, around 11,000 foreign POGO workers are expected to leave the Philippines by the end of 2024. The BI is intensifying its manhunt operations to locate remaining foreign POGO workers who are now considered illegal aliens. The Justice Department makes it clear noncompliance will be met with strict legal action. Now, Joseph C., the chairman and owner of global Ferro-Nickel Holdings, faces allegations of fabricating his Filipino citizenship through a late birth registration. The accusation comes from former Magsasaka Party List representative Argel Joseph Kabatbat, who compares it to similar claims made against former Bamban Mayor Alice Guo. Kabatbat also questions the authenticity of C's baptismal certificate, claiming it bears a forged priest's signature and references as a church that was not built until decades after the supposed baptismal date. Kabatbat filed a case against C in 2014, challenging the legitimacy of his citizenship. Bilyonaryo.com has reached out to C for comment, but he has yet to respond. Now, the Baguio Regional Trial Court rejects Camp John Hay Development Corporation's latest bid to delay the return of the 247-hectare property to the government. In an order dated January 3rd, the court dismisses the motion to postpone the turnover of the property to the Basis Conversion and Development Authority, or the BCDA. For the BCDA, this decision means that all land and improvements within the property, whether held directly by Camp John Hay, DevCo, or its subsidiaries, must now be returned to them. This follows the Supreme Court certificate of finality issued last October, affirming the judgment in the consolidated cases between the BCDA and Camp John Hay Development Corporation. This ruling brings the long-running dispute to a close, signaling a major victory for the government and the BCDA in reclaiming the iconic property. We're taking a quick breather. Basis Points will be right back. Good morning, everyone! Oh, I know, right?
Join Paulo Del Rosario
Let's get you up to speed with some news that you could use right now.
and Asis Carrillo.
We are bringing happiness and cheer along with inspiration, good vibes, and great energy.
And Monique Tuzon.
Your mornings are mo fun with us. Always remember to celebrate each day and spread love and kindness wherever you go.
Every day is
A beautiful day!
The latest news, national issues,
with regard to was very vocal about charter change.
the political scene, the trust and approval ratings of President Bongbong Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte decline, and conversations with prominent personalities.
Brings back wonderful memories of past Christmases when I was a little boy in Iloilo.
Be timely informed, be insightful of the news. All these firsthand at the forefront.
The latest weather updates and forecast
Could be another tropical cyclone heading towards us at the end of the year.
with information to help us understand important aspects about our climate.
Can you tell us a bit about the jobs that will actually be produced by this project, not just in the construction, but of course in the actual running of this farm?
Weather HQ.
Whatever the weather, only here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The questions.
Why sounds very serious,
Seryoso, no? Di ba parang, crime, may away pamilya, etc.
The issues.
Who are supposed to be on the faces of our bank, of our money?
Bangko Sentral, no? There is a numismatic committee who meets and decides.
We clarify matters.
The 1,000 peso bill was changed from the three heroes of World War II to the Philippine Eagle.
Pinky Web is always on point.
Welcome back to Basis Points. Millions of people across the United States are under winter alerts due to a storm there. The winter storm now, the powerful weather system is expected to bring a dangerous mix of snow, ice, and blizzard conditions, with the Central Plains already blanketed in snow. Authorities are warning of treacherous travel conditions and potential power outages from Kansas to the Mid-Atlantic. The storm is set to hit Washington, D.C. overnight, just as Congress prepares to certify the 2024 presidential election results on Monday. More than 77,000 customers in the central U.S. are already without power. That number is expected to rise as the storm intensifies. For the business community, this storm could mean delays in supply chains, disruptions to retail and e-commerce operations, and a spike in energy demand. Staying prepared and adapting quickly will be crucial in the coming days. Still in the U.S., New York City implements a congestion pricing toll for motorists entering the heart of Manhattan this weekend. Drivers will now pay $9 to access the busiest part of the city during peak hours. As the first program of its kind in the U.S., the toll aims to reduce the gridlocks in the densely packed area and to generate funds to improve the city's public transit system. The initiative survives multiple legal challenges and takes effect despite opposition. In a nutshell, this is a major shift in urban mobility and transport policy. For the business community, it means potential higher costs for commuters and deliveries. But it also brings opportunities in public transit improvements and reduced travel times in the long run.
If you do drive, if you have to drive, we want you to spend less time stuck in traffic. Your time is worth real money, and that's why the business community has supported this so much, because time wasted in traffic is a huge drag on our economy. So we want to see speeds pick up, especially for buses now moving at under 5 miles an hour in Midtown. Buses are slower than walking in much of Midtown. We want to see if that can be improved. We want to make sure that emergency response times, fire trucks, police cars, and most of all ambulances can get where they're going faster. Those times have been going up every year because of traffic.
A damning revelation in the U.S. Senate as the Budget Committee uncovers more records linking Credit Suisse, a multinational financial services firm headquartered in Zurich, Switzerland, to Nazi-controlled accounts during World War II. The committee finds that the bank, now a subsidiary of UBS, failed to disclose tens of thousands of documents related to Nazi-linked accounts in previous hearings. This includes 3,600 physical documents and over 40,000 microfilms. UBS states it is committed to providing a complete record of these accounts from Credit Suisse's predecessor banks. In 1998, Credit Suisse agreed to pay $1.25 billion to settle lawsuits brought by Holocaust survivors. This underscores the need for transparency in corporate operations, especially when handling sensitive historical legacies. It also serves as a warning that failing to address past wrongdoings can lead to legal and reputational challenges, even decades later. Elsewhere in the world, tuna wholesaler Yamayuki and Michelin-starred sushi restaurant Ginza Onodera jointly purchased a bluefin tuna for 207 million yen, or roughly 1.3 million US dollars. The 276-kilogram catch is the second highest winning bid in the event's history. The record for the highest bid at the annual auction remains at $3.1 million, which was set back in 2019. This marks the fifth consecutive year that the powerful Onodera Group has paid the top price for the New Year tuna. Tokyo's Toyosu Fish Market started this annual New Year auction in 1999, and it has since become a global symbol of prestige in the seafood industry. This auction highlights the high value and luxury status of bluefin tuna, showcasing the economic impact of premium seafood markets. It also underscores the importance of sustainability in marine resources as the demand for this highly prized species continues to rise. On another front, The Voice USA Season 26 champion Sofronio Vasquez is back home in the Philippines. The singer, who hails from Cebu and was part of Michael Bublé's team in the recently concluded competition, announces his homecoming through social media. Sofronio is set to hold his first solo concert in his hometown of Cebu on January 18th, an event highly anticipated by fans and marking a major milestone in his musical journey. Vasquez made history as the first Asian and the first Filipino to win The Voice USA, cementing his status as a global musical sensation and a source of immense national pride. And that's it for Basis Points. I'm Maiki Oreta. We'll be back tomorrow for more news on the financial markets and more. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo news channel, always on top.